Today, Judge Howard Sims issued an order moving the Stephen McDaniel trial to Henry County. You'll remember McDaniel is awaiting trial for murdering Mercer Law grad Lauren Giddings in June 2011. Jay Davis joins us now in the studio with It's the Law with a look at what it takes to get a trial moved from one county to another. Now, Jay, the judge cited news coverage as a reason for moving this trial, but generally speaking, what type of news coverage would a judge have to see in order for them to move the trial? I mean, we cover murders and violent crimes all the time.
Yeah, there's always some news coverage, or there's usually some news coverage in the newspaper or something. What they generally look for is a lot of news coverage that may taint the jury pool, that might have a lot of people already deciding who's guilty and who's not. In this case, there was a lot of news coverage early on with actually the defendant on camera. Sometimes those things are not admissible, so is it inappropriate evidence? And they also look at whether or not it's true, whether or not the evidence that they see is true, or if it's inaccurate evidence. Inaccurate is going to go towards it might be tainting in the wrong way. That could be corrected. Accurate evidence that's not supposed to be in sometimes is actually worse than inaccurate evidence, because if it's something that would not be admissible or might have a tendency to be perceived one way, and you can't go into it to prove that's not the way it should be seen.
Okay, and in terms of moving the trial, does it give either the prosecution or defense an advantage in this case, do you believe?
It probably gives both of them an advantage over being here, because they both have some hurdles to get out of here. The DA's office and the prosecution, with some of the ways that the evidence has been handled with the police department and that type of thing, they've got some problems with a lot of people believe that maybe it wasn't handled as well as it should be, and that might get some prejudice against them in this area. So getting somewhere else that they're not as familiar with that might help. And the defense the same way. There's a lot of people who've already formed their opinion believing that it was guilty. They don't like the pictures that they see. They don't like statements that were made. There was a lot of inaccurate evidence that came out in some of the early hearings where it appeared that there was evidence that videos were done or evidence was put on Facebook or other social media prior to the murder that could have only been known by the murderer himself and attributed to the defendant. It turned out to be false. At least some of it turned out to be false. So those things are issues.
Really quickly, as a lawyer yourself, how taxing is it for a legal team to have to move to another area?
It takes a lot out of you. I've had jury trials over the past year in Gwinnett. I've had them in Douglasville. And if you go up for a hearing in case, I've had a lot of cases in Atlanta, Fulton County, where they're one-day trials, a DUI or something like that. It's not that big of a deal. But when you have to every day go somewhere that far away, it's a big deal. But Henry County is not so bad. You can get up, drive to Henry County, and you're pretty good. So I think it's a good choice of where to go.
All right, Jay, thank you so much. And remember, you can catch Jay and his legal experts every weekend, Saturdays at 3 on My 41.2 and Sundays at 6 here on 41 NBC. And if you've got a legal question for Jay, send me an email to aminelli@41nbc.com. We'll answer it right here on the news.